In this video, I'll show you the best way to clean an engine, or at least the safest way. We're not going to risk damaging electronic components or anything like that, which can often happen when you give it the typical hose down. We're going to make it spotless, whether it's an engine like this or a more modern one covered in plastic. Here's the before and after. No camera tricks or special effects, and in the case of the modern engine that was much dirtier, the difference is even more noticeable. It looks like a new car. First, we need to remove the larger debris. Using small brushes and a vacuum cleaner, you'll get rid of the dust, leaves, dirt, and anything that would turn into mud if we got it wet. Just brushing removes the dirt, and the vacuum picks up the grime so it doesn't get trapped under the parts or anything like that. At this stage, you don't need to make it perfect. Even though I used a brush, things are still dirty. This is where many people resort to the typical hose down, grabbing the pressure washer and going at it. But doing this would soak all these electrical contacts you see, potentially causing electronic errors or even causing one of the cylinders to malfunction if water gets into the spark plugs. In short, it would cause problems. Next, we'll use a very handy little machine, a steam cleaner, but instead of using regular water, we'll use distilled water. The beauty of this is that distilled water isn't conductive, so we could submerge something electric and it would still work. When filling the machine, don't fill it to the brim. You need to leave about a quarter of the tank empty so that pressure can build up. They usually come with a little measuring cup, and that's the amount of water you should use. Put the cap on, tighten it well, and plug it in. With this, we can clean the engine thoroughly without causing any short circuits, even if we get the battery wet. This water is insulating instead of conductive. The only thing you shouldn't get wet are the spark plugs because it would insulate them and block the electricity. But other than that, you can go over everything. Since it's steam, it's extremely hot, so be careful with your skin. Everything we clean with this, like the bottom of the engine, will not only look clean but also be disinfected. As the heat kills bacteria, it will be so clean you could eat off it. Though I won't do it. One tip, buy a good machine. Mine is very cheap, so it works very slowly. After that first cleaning, use a product called APC from any brand you like and scrub it with a brush, preferably a new one. Then give it another pass with the steam and it'll be spotless. You don't have to be too careful. I go over everything, even the battery, but in the reservoirs where there's oil or any liquid, make sure they're tightly sealed and don't aim directly at them. The tricky part is cleaning the metal parts. No matter how much we clean, the dirt is deeply embedded. But there's a solution. There are some very inexpensive bars that are great for cleaning metal. They're meant for pots and pans, but they work perfectly for the engine and clean very well. The downside is that they don't reach the most hidden spots. So another trick is to use oven cleaner. You won't even have to scrub or put in much effort. Just spray it all over the metal surfaces, let it sit for 5 minutes, and the grime will come off on its own. I use it for most metal parts like the exhaust, rims, etc. The intended use is for chimneys, ovens, and those kinds of things where dirt, like grease, gets deeply embedded, just like in a car engine. So cover all the greasy or dirty parts and wait 5 minutes. When the foam starts to fall off, give it a pass with the steam cleaner and a lot of grime will come off. If it doesn't come off completely, you might need to do a second pass. Just look at how much dirt comes off with just this first pass. Wherever the steam goes, you can see a clear trail of cleanliness. If after this you use the metal cleaning bar for pots and pans, you'll find that the dirt comes off much more easily after applying the oven cleaner. So combining these two methods are key. Don't forget to look and clean from all angles. For example, I almost missed this spot and it's super dirty. So before doing the second pass, check from above, from the side, wherever you haven't looked before. It's inevitable to miss some spots, but at least from any angle, it should still look clean. By the way, don't forget to clean the oil pan and those areas that get greasy. Even if they're not visible, you'll appreciate it when you work down there. You can repeat the process until it's clean, but usually 2 passes are enough. Now that it's wet, the plastic parts look shinier. Later, we'll make sure they stay that way permanently. By the way, every time you finish cleaning or want to refill the tank, you have to empty it completely. If you open it with pressure inside, it could go kaboom. The next step is to dry everything so that no water spots are left behind. After this, it looks great, but it could be even better. The plastic parts look dull and lifeless because they're old, but by using a plastic restorer, we can bring them back to life and make everything look like new. All the plastic parts will look perfect and shiny. If you see excess product somewhere or it gets on a non-plastic part, just wipe it off with a cloth. Start the car to check that everything is working fine. Then admire the good work you've done. It looks like a well-maintained car and is much nicer to touch without getting covered in grease and dirt. Everything is exactly the same, but now it's clean. Before, after. The process with a more modern car engine is exactly the same, so I'll speed through it. Now the engine looks almost new, and all of this was done with very cheap products. The most expensive thing would be the steam cleaner, but it's something that will be useful for many cleanings. That's it. Like and subscribe and all that. Goodbye.